Alright, so what are the top 10 coding languages you should consider learning in 2019? How much can you make as a developer utilizing some of these languages, and what are they used for? That's what I'm going to be covering in this video. Hi, I'm Joel, creator of Pixelroom.com and DevWP, which is a WordPress development training theme. My goal in this video is to share with you my thoughts on some of the best coding languages you should consider using and why. Alright, so let's jump right into it. Number one is JavaScript. JavaScript is used everywhere. Every website uses JavaScript in some way, shape, or form. JavaScript is a coding language typically associated with front-end development to create dynamic, interactive websites. But it's evolved over the years to be more than that, with the libraries and frameworks that it has like jQuery, React, Vue, Angular, and others. You can do a significant amount with it. But now with Node.js, which has been around for some time now, you could use JavaScript on the server side. Now all this means you can learn one language for both front-end and back-end development. That's why JavaScript is evolving and being utilized by a lot of developers out there. And it's one of the most highly recommended coding languages to learn. Now, how much can you earn as a JavaScript developer? Well, the numbers are all over the place. If you go online and you look at some of the websites, you'll see that you can make anywhere from like $50,000 a year, upwards of $150,000 to $200,000. And again, it depends on the project that you're working on, your geographic location, and your experience level. If you're a junior developer, you're gonna make a little bit less than the senior developer, sometimes a lot less. But learning JavaScript means that you're gonna be able to have some type of employment moving forward for a significant amount of time. So that's why I think JavaScript earned the top number one spot for this 2019 review. Alright, so what comes next? Number two, I believe PHP is one of the best coding languages to learn if you're looking to be a web developer. It's used by over 80% of the modern web. You're going to find that content management systems like WordPress, Drupal, and Joomla all use PHP. Some of the biggest websites online use PHP as well. PHP is great for freelance work, and it's also very good for corporate work as well. And the reason for this is because, again, it is used by so many websites online that most websites are not going to change their entire code base to another language. And the fact that PHP is constantly evolving and is significantly faster than what it used to be makes it a very attractive language for developers to learn. One other thing is that there's so much information on how to code with PHP online. On YouTube, you can find courses and tutorials all over the place. And the PHP documentation online is one of the best. You're gonna find there's a significant amount of resources and examples of how to use PHP to power your website. And the income potential for PHP, again, is also significant because you can make anywhere from $50,000 starting off to six figures with PHP. All depends on your experience level, projects you're working on, and the type of work you do. All right, so next, number three is Python. Python is a very popular coding language. It's used for machine learning, it's used for artificial intelligence, it's used in data science, it's used in mathematics, it's used for creating desktop applications to automate some of the boring stuff. There's actually a book on that. And it's also used for websites as a server-side coding language as well. It is a general purpose coding language. It's very easy to learn. It's taught in a lot of universities, and you're gonna find that there's a lot of websites that dedicate a significant amount of their videos and tutorials to helping you learn how to code in Python. All right, so we just covered JavaScript, PHP, and Python. These are the top three. There's some crossover in the functionality and uses. You're gonna find some projects will use both PHP and JavaScript, or both Python and JavaScript, or any mix of the three themselves. Depends on the type of work. Python developers can make a considerable amount of money. They can make, again, $50,000, $60,000 to start off with as a junior developer, and they can make high six figures as well. And the future for a Python developer is bright, considering the fact that a lot of companies are using it for machine learning, for natural language processing. If you want a language that's going to help you future-proof your career, Python is a great language for that. All right, so now we move on to number four. And in this spot is Java. Java is installed on billions of devices all over the world. If you go to their website, they're going to show you a number of about 3 billion, 4 billion devices utilizing Java. And that number is going to continue to grow. And that's why it's such a great language to learn, because it's already embedded or it's already utilized by so many types of devices. Large corporations, enterprises, and big business use Java. But Java could also be used to create web applications. It could be used for distributed systems. It's an object-oriented programming language, and it's a language that can help you find work for years to come. So that's why Java makes the 4th spot. Now, don't confuse Java with JavaScript. They have two totally different purposes. And while the names may sound similar, they're not the same. And now, number 5, Swift. Swift is a coding language developed by Apple for the iOS ecosystem or operating system. If you want to create applications for the iPhone, for the iPad, then Swift is the language to learn. Over the years, Swift has replaced Objective-C as the coding language utilized to create these applications. And the ability to earn an income with Swift is significant, because as an individual developer, you can create applications, sell it on the Apple iTunes store, and you can make good money with it. Or you can work for a larger company and create more robust types of applications that as a single developer might be a little bit more difficult. But there are developers making tens of thousands of dollars a month just by selling their apps on the App Store. And considering the fact that there are billions of iPhones and iPads out there all over the world, that means that the job market for a Swift developer is significant. And since Apple is one of the most profitable companies worldwide, they're not going anywhere, which means that Swift is not going anywhere except for evolving. So if you're looking to learn how to create an application for iOS, then Swift is the coding language to learn. All right, so on that note, number 6 is Kotlin. Now this one maybe you've heard of, maybe you haven't, but it's a language that will definitely be beneficial to learn. While Swift has replaced Objective-C as the coding language to learn for app development for iOS, Kotlin is thought to be replacing Java as the go-to coding language to create Android-based applications. And since Android, which is a Google operating system, is utilized by billions of phones and devices all over the world, that means that learning Kotlin now is going to ensure that you have a great career as a developer. And the app ecosystem on Android is significant. That means that you can create applications that are game-related, that are to-do based type apps, or anything that you can imagine. You can sell it on the App Store, you can create ad revenue with it. There is a significant potential in terms of generating income by learning how to use Kotlin as the coding language. Now, number 7 on this list is considered the mother of all coding languages that I've spoken about so far, and that is C. C has been around for decades. It's one of the oldest languages you're going to find. Not the oldest, there's a bunch of them that predated, but in terms of this list, C is definitely the oldest. With C, you can create operating systems, you can create desktop applications. It gives you the ability to have fine-grained control over memory management, the graphics card, your CPU, and how your computer functions. It's a very fast language. So if you're looking to work with an operating system, if you're looking to work with something that's going to be more robust, then C is the way to go. And one thing is that if you can learn how to code with C, you can pretty much learn how to code with any of the other languages, especially since they are all based on C in some way, shape, or form. And as a C developer, you can make good money as well, because there's always going to be a company that needs C developers who can create desktop and laptop based applications. Now on that note, we move on to the next one, which is C++. And this is number 8 on the list of top 10 coding languages to learn in 2019. Now C++ is also obviously based on C, it's in the name, and you can create desktop applications with it, you can create operating systems with it. It's a very fast language. It gives you really good control over the memory of a computer, the RAM. It gives you control over the CPU and the graphics. You're going to find that a lot of banking applications utilize C++. Also, MySQL is coded in C++, and MySQL is one of the most widely used databases by major companies, and one of them is YouTube. So if you want to learn how to code for desktops and operating systems and things of that nature, C++ is a great language to learn. And just like the others, the income can be anywhere from $50,000 to high 6 figures. Now we move on to number 9, and number 9 is C#. And this is also obviously based on C and C++ as well. but basically Microsoft built C# from the ground up, taking some of the best features within C++ and C and making it a very fine-tuned coding language. Now, C# is great if you want to be a desktop developer or an operating system developer, but also if you want to be a game developer, especially with Unity. With C#, you'll be able to code games that are used on some of the biggest platforms out there. And since C# is backed by Microsoft, it's going to be around for a while. So if you're looking for long-term security in terms of development, then C# is great for that as well. Most of these languages are going to be great for that. JavaScript, PHP, Python, they're not going anywhere. Java is not going anywhere. Swift is going to be here for a while. Kotlin is going to be here for a very long time, obviously. All these languages will be here for the years to come. Now, number 10 on this list is Go, aka Golang. It's been created by Google with the purpose of being more efficient and powerful and faster than some of the other languages I just mentioned. It has a bunch of similar features, but it has concurrency. It has the ability to multi-thread faster than other types of coding languages that I mentioned. And that's primarily because it was created at a time where multiprocessors were prevalent. And what this really means is that you can run multiple processes simultaneously. It is extremely fast, it's extremely efficient, it's object-oriented, but in a different manner. It takes some of the best features from the other languages, but makes it more efficient and optimized. And that makes sense because it was designed by Google, and they needed to find a way to deal with all the data they have and how to process all the information they have at the speed of the web, whatever speed that is. I guess it depends on your connection. Either way, they needed to make sure that it was efficient and doesn't bottleneck or create issues with the processors on the different servers in their server farms. And how much money can you make with Go? It depends. Always going to be entry-level positions where it's going to be around 50, 60,000, or it can go as high 6 figures. This number is the same for pretty much every coding language of prominence. And it really depends on your experience as a developer, if you're a junior developer or a senior developer, your location, your geographic location, the type of work you're working with and the projects you're working on, and the companies you're in. So those were the top 10 languages. We have JavaScript, we have PHP, we have Python, we have Java, we have Swift, we have Kotlin, we have C, we have C++, we have C#, and we have Go and Golang. As an added bonus or as a notable mention, you should definitely learn SQL. So this will be in 11, but this is a top 10 list with a notable mention. SQL is for databases. It's a database type language. So every application or every web application you're going to interact with is going to need to interact with a database. And the most prominent one is MySQL, and that's based on SQL or SQL. Think of SQL and MySQL and the other versions of SQL to be similar to Excel, but significantly more powerful. They're databases with database tables, and you can organize how your data is stored. So you have something like Python or Node.js or PHP and other of the coding languages that interact with the database to pull in information and then to output it to the end user. And you're going to find that SQL is part of a larger stack. So if somebody is a full stack developer, they're going to know how to work with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, maybe PHP or Python or Java or something else. And they're also going to learn how to work with a MySQL or SQL type database. So to round out your education or to round out your development knowledge, SQL is definitely on the list. Maybe not in the top 10 because it's not one of the first things you're going to learn, but it's definitely a notable mention and definitely one that you should consider learning as soon as you can. Alright, so hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, smash that notification icon. Leave your comments down below. If you want to learn how to code a WordPress theme, check out my video on how to code a WordPress theme with DevWP. I'll leave a link up in the card section or in the description area down below. And I will see you in the next video. Take care.